evening, everyone. Welcome. We're very excited that you are here to learn more about the School of Engineering, UConn Stamford, and UConn as a whole. We have a very exciting program for you all this evening. We have Shoshana here from our engineering department who is going to give you a quick presentation, a little overview, and then we will definitely save time for questions. So don't worry, we will try to save as much time as we can for questions. Participants, that brings up another great point that I wanted to mention to all of you. Tonight's presentation, we won't be able to see or hear you, but there is a great chat box to the right-hand side of your screen. That is where you're going to put in all of your questions. We are going to do the presentation first and answer questions after, but feel free at any time to type in those questions. Welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. We are very excited that you're here. My name is Kim Bornstein. I'm the admissions officer at UConn Stamford. It's great to see so many familiar names. This year I say familiar names and not faces, but welcome back to those of you who maybe have joined us yesterday for living at UConn Stamford, or it's very nice to meet all of you if this is one of your first special presentations with us. We're very excited that you took time out of your day to be here. We're just gonna allow everybody a minute or two to get situated. I know folks might be transitioning from work or from school or from walking the dog or being outside. I know it is a gorgeous day, or at least it was. It's getting to be a little cloudy in Connecticut, but we are very excited you are here. Grab your pen and paper. We will be sharing lots of important information. I always say pen and paper though, and a lot of you are like, well, I take notes in my phone. Your phone is totally okay. The pen and paper is just me. I like to write things down. But grab something to eat, grab something to drink, grab somewhere to take notes, and we'll get started in just a moment. This program does work best in Google Chrome. So if you're not in Google Chrome, you might want to log out and log back in to join us in Google Chrome. That's a great question. Our session this evening will be about between 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how many questions you have. We will get started in another minute or two. We do have a presentation for you to give you an overview about engineering, about UConn, and then we will take your questions. So that chat box is the perfect place to put in your questions, and we will get started shortly. Thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be with us. We're really excited that we have this opportunity with you all this evening, and we will definitely take full advantage of this opportunity. We have lots of great information to share with you. So we will get started in just a moment. All right. So again, my name is Kim Bornstein. I'm the admissions officer at UConn Stamford. I'm thrilled to see that so many of you have tuned in to learn more about UConn Stamford, and our School of Engineering. We have Shoshana here with us, who is going to share so many important pieces of information about advising and engineering and your coursework. And this session should be for all students that are joining us this evening. I do want to say congratulations and a round of applause to our admitted students. It is a very exciting time, and we are here to help you along your college journey. All right, Shoshana, let's get started.
All right, thank you, everyone. Hopefully you are able to see the screen right now and hear me well, but please let Kim know if there are any challenges with that. Pop that into the chat. My name is Shoshana Armington. I'm the Assistant Director of Advising for Student Transitions in the School of Engineering. And as Kim mentioned, we're very excited to see you online today, our admitted students. Today's presentation, we're going to go through, let's see if I can get technology now to, there we go, perfect. So we're going to go through a bit about the School of Engineering as a whole. I'm going to talk with you a bit about course sequencing, what to expect for at least the first year of your career pursuing an engineering degree, as well as some enrichment opportunities. And then if you're still in need of gaining admission to the School of Engineering once you're at UConn, just some information briefly about what to expect for that. So just so we're on the same page, about engineering as a whole, this is a discipline based in math, science, and engineering principles. So you're going to be looking to innovate and problem solve and think about these things not only at the individual, like one-on-one level, but also with the masses or about space, outer space, and water spaces. The impact of engineering is pretty profound. I think you can think about, yourself and how engineering impacts you. It's all around us, right? The food we ingest, the medicines, our clothing, technology, how I'm talking with you right now. And then it's also, again, for the masses, so it can impact people at the hundreds of thousands, millions, billions of people, and again, outer space. So it's a pretty cool growing area. And contrary to popular belief, you're going to work in interdisciplinary teams. So you do kind of have to be quite social about your math, science, and engineering background. You're going to work together to problem solve and design and maintain systems. So it is going to be a field that you're going to take quite a lot of math and science and different types of engineering courses to build your skills. And then you will get, I will explain this in a little more depth shortly, but you're going to get more hands-on and work in lab settings or out in the field. And then take your learning, to the workforce or on to graduate school or, further education to help our world. So it's a really neat field. At UConn, the School of Engineering encompasses approximately 3,600 undergrad students. So it's a fairly large school or college at UConn. And it is across all campuses. We have students begin their career as a regional campus student and then make the transition to stores eventually in their third, fourth, or even fifth semester, dependent on individual needs, to finish their career. We do have 13 majors and one major that can be pursued for 4 years at the Stamford campus, which I'll highlight shortly. That's our computer science degree. And we have a new major coming online for the fall as well. It's pretty exciting. And there are 16 minors as well. So students may choose a minor to supplement, couple their undergraduate career in an area that they want to gain a new skill set in, or that's not part of their major already. The faculty that are here are fabulous. They're going to be here not only to teach you about the field of engineering, but also to engage you in undergraduate research and help you find, fabulous internships and ultimately, again, transition to your career in the field of engineering. We are an ABET accredited program, so that means that all of the curriculums are going to prepare you to work after you graduate from UConn. So you will graduate with a BSE degree or a Bachelor's of Science, BS degree in one of our 13 majors. And then again, be able to be prepared for the workforce upon exiting UConn. So I know you're just beginning your career and I'm talking about the exit, but of course the outcomes are great. You're going to be trained to be one of these engineers, in the future. All from our 13 majors, again, all of our employment opportunities are wonderful. We don't require internships as part of your undergraduate program, but we have many partnerships with local companies. And in terms of internship opportunities, I will highlight this towards the end of our presentation, but it's quite common that in addition to the pursuit of your education for coursework, you will also have internships where you will basically demonstrate what you're learning, in the classroom. You'll take it out into the workforce, get an internship, and then ideally that will lead you to a job after graduation. We have a new major, as I was highlighting, coming online for the fall, multidisciplinary engineering. So this has now replaced what used to be undecided engineering. Our multidisciplinary engineering degree is pretty unique, actually. It's not one that all institutions have. This is going to allow students to pursue more general background in engineering, quite a variety, as it kind of highlights multidisciplinary, but quite a few disciplines in engineering, as well as tailor your experience with about 8 other classes outside of engineering, likely, that you could be quite niche in your area of study. For example, we have partnerships with our Krenicki Institute, so the School of Fine Arts, if you're looking at industrial design or theater entertainment. So these are different partnerships that we are developing. Over time, there'll be more and more coming since this is a new program, but this is a way for you, again, to kind of tailor your experience, not only in the School of Engineering, but outside with a partner program. We also have joint programs with the School of Engineering and the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences for engineering physics, that major, as well as a joint program with the School of Engineering and School of Business for management and engineering for manufacturing. Big mouthful, down to MEM. There are highlighted on this screen a couple of programs that you will see that are space limited programs. It doesn't mean that they're better, there are better outcomes. It just means that they always run at full capacity at UConn. And then there are, again, quite a few other programs that are not space limited, but sought after programs to pursue, again, an industry job upon graduation. I mentioned this on the other screen, and I'm going to go into more depth very soon, but we do also offer a 4-year program in computer science at Stanford. So this is because we have great partnerships in industry in the area, the Fairfield County area and New York City, close proximity. So we have built up a program at Stanford for students to pursue a 4-year track in computer science if interested, but it is also offered through STORS. These are just a list of our minors. I'm not going to go into depth on these, just want to make you aware that, again, there are minor opportunities for you to supplement in your major, not required, but some cool ways to gain new skills and ultimately apply them in the workforce. So Stanford 4-year computer science degrees, there are 3 concentrations that a student could pursue. So this is, again, if you were to complete from the beginning to the end of your career at Stanford with just computer science, an unspecialized concentration, software design and development, and coming soon, the mobile systems development. So these are unique to Stanford. There's a couple concentrations in here that you can only pursue at the Stanford campus. And then there are some other concentrations that are STORS-based concentrations for computer science students. These are just some of the look at what you would take if you were pursuing a computing major through Stanford. So you can see there's algorithms, software engineering, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, intro to computer network and systems, mobile app development, and big data analytics available. Also pretty unique and wonderful, again, an example of a partnership with a local company. Synchrony has a lab on campus in Stanford, a space where students will partner with Synchrony Financial, and they are developing their talent pool. And these are students that actually attend Stanford for computer science who are working with our president there, showing him the space, president of our campus, our university. And on campus, students are getting, that hands-on experience to work with their coding skills and work with, again, a partner company, and then hopefully land a job with them in the future. So this is a really unique, neat opportunity for students at Stanford. Just to give you a brief overview expectation of what you would do for your coursework as you begin your career as an exploring engineering or admitted engineering student, you're going to take, again, foundational courses in math, science, and engineering. So you're going to have some lab work in chemistry for your first year. You're going to take calculus-based math classes. There are actually 2 years worth of calculus-based math. So again, very foundational concepts. An intro programming course. And if you're interested in a computing major, you'll go on and take more in the spring semester. And I'm sorry, I realized I flipped those semesters. One should say fall in the first part, and the other should say spring. So the columns are correct, fall and spring. So CSE would be in the computer science and engineering. And if you're not interested in computing, you do not have to take more computing classes. We again have 3 computing majors, and the rest are non-computing majors that you can take. Engineering 1166, which is an overview of engineering and looking at how to think like an engineer. It's our freshman design class. So you're going to be able to, again, divide out by major as early as your spring semester first year. In addition to the math and science and engineering courses, you also will supplement your career with general education requirements. So the university has an English course that you'll take, as well as coursework in our arts and humanities, social sciences, and diversity and multiculturalism. topics, but you get to select those. So you can pick topics of interest. Many of our students will take econ, sociology, geography, just some examples. So that's what general education, Gen Ed, refers to. So the final class that all students in their first year will take, whether it be fall or spring, is our Introduction to Engineering. So you will learn more about the field of engineering. It is a 1-credit seminar style class. You'll learn more about the different majors and, just kind of, again, make sure that this feels like a good fit for you. So our first year is really an exploratory experience. So you do not need to know exactly which major in engineering you want to pursue. Though if you do, that's great. And again, you can get a bit more tailored in the spring semester to your interest areas. But all of our majors start with the same sequencing of courses. So this is great if you are beginning, again, as an admitted student or an exploratory student. Our curriculum is set for you to just get the foundational concepts to begin with and build on those into your second year courses, which will be a bit more major specific. So you'll take some more advanced coursework that is going to give you theory and concepts in engineering and build off of the math and science coursework. And again, if you're looking to do a programming, computing major, you'll go into more of those major classes your second year. The third and fourth year coursework is very major specific. So by the end of your fourth semester, you really want to know kind of what direction you're headed for major in the School of Engineering and be admitted to that major. So that you can make that transition to stores and access more major specific classes. Unless, again, you're going to continue in the CS program at Stanford for all 4 years. Some of these courses are going to be offered distance learning, so they're remoted to all the regional campuses at the same time, whereas other classes will be at the Stanford campus. And some, again, are stores-based classes. So we work very closely with you for advising every semester to ensure that you're planning the right courses, you're finding the fit of major, and we can guide you about, again, what your specific set of requirements by major should look like for engineering. I will highlight, even though I don't have like a separate slide on this, but when you get to your final year of engineering, you have a culminating experience in senior design. So every major will take a fall and spring sequence of a design project course. So they're going to work in a team with other peers in their major or interdisciplinary, and you're going to be applying again all those concepts that you've been learning for those 3 years ahead of this experience. And work with usually a partner, a company that has a design or an idea or a project for you. And it's almost like a built-in year-long internship. And then at the end of the year, we have a senior expo, a senior design expo, and it is where you can demonstrate, all that you've learned and what that hard work of your year-long team project is. And there are prizes involved, so it's pretty cool, but it's a really wonderful way to close out your experience as an engineering student at UConn. So I like to do this little myth buster as well and share that studying abroad is possible as an engineering student. A lot of students will study abroad in a winter, a summer, or a fall or a spring. There are many opportunities for you to pursue as long as you're just a good early planner. And that's why, again, we are here as advisors to help guide you and make sure if you are looking for an abroad experience, we can find that for you as an engineering student. We do offer some dual degree programs as well. It's a pretty neat, unique opportunity. It's a 5-year program at a minimum because 1 full year is abroad. So you're getting 2 degrees from UConn, 1 in any of our engineering disciplines and 1 in one of these languages, German, Spanish, Mandarin Chinese, or French. So you will have proficiency in a second language, be abroad, speaking and working an internship in that other country, and then complete your engineering degree through UConn. So if you see yourself being a global citizen in the future, this is a neat way to maybe get that industry experience abroad. We also really encourage you to get involved. You're more than just an engineer by trade in the sense of your studies, your academics. Those, of course, are first and foremost, and you're going to work very hard as an engineering student to get your degree. But we have great clubs and activities, over 700 at the stores alone in Stamford based. There are many things going on campus that you can get involved with from day one and continue as you again transition to stores to complete your degree. So we do really encourage you to get involved, whether it be an engineering club or activity, or just something you want to do at your time here at UConn. There's just so much going on campus, off campus, service. You can hone your skills as an engineer and join a programming club. You can learn more about how to be a good communicator, business, etc. So please, check out our opportunities. And again, we do encourage you to get involved to be a good time manager, enjoy your experience, and build up that resume. So when you exit UConn, you know a lot about yourself and you've had a lot of fun and been able to do more than just what you've learned in the classroom. We also have a partnership with the Center for Career Development. Wiley Dawson is our engineering career consultant liaison. So he will work with students individually as well as provide workshops. And there are a lot of videos that the Center for Career Development has available to you to develop professionally, right? You are going to spend your career working to build up your resume, your skills, and again, ultimately, we encourage you to apply for internships and get those internships, usually your junior to senior year summer, so that you can maybe get a job before you even graduate, right? And have that all set up for you. And if not, you've had some really good industry exposure. So our Center for Career Development is a great resource to you. Again, we will introduce you to Wiley. We will work together over time, Wiley and the School of Engineering, to make sure that you have knowledge about what professional development opportunities are out there, as well as what companies are recruiting UConn students. As I mentioned, Stamford is a great area where we have a lot of industry partners already established and hiring UConn graduates. So we will hook you up, right? And we again have our network here at UConn to support you. If you enter UConn as an ACES student, or you're in CLES or another major and you want to change into engineering, we do have a process that would begin as early as the first semester after you're here for one semester. So we will have an internal admission process if you would like to change into the School of Engineering. I'm not going to go into extensive depth on the criteria because we will work with you in advising over your semester and beyond if you decide to change your major later in your career. This information about admission is also posted on our School of Engineering website directly. But I just want to highlight that again, if you are interested in engineering, you should express that to your advisor when you work with them at orientation, and they will start to identify the classes that you need to take as an engineering student to be eligible to apply to the School of Engineering. And if you are already admitted to the School of Engineering and you may want to change your major in the future, the process is the same. So everybody will just apply through our internal admission process. We will review your request, and in the majors, we'll look for space availability, and we'll be looking at your UConn academic performance to determine admission to our different majors. So again, this is something that you'll begin to initiate and talk through with your advisor as you go to orientation, and through our mandatory advising process each semester. We'll support you in applying to the right program and your goals of admission. If you have further questions after today's presentation or ever in the future, as I mentioned, you can reach out to me, and you are going to see my name and face a bunch of times in your career if you're interested in engineering, because I will be traveling to the Stamford campus and continuing to support as your advisor, co-advisor if you're admitted to the School of Engineering. But please email me at this juncture. I'm not in the office. As you can see, I'm in my home office space, but you are welcome to give me a call as well. It just may take me a few days to get back to you because our message system, again, we're not in the office right now, so just a brief delay on the messages. Email is usually the best way to get a hold of me at this point if you have further questions. I do encourage you to check out our undergraduate website if you haven't already for the School of Engineering. We do have some regional campus specific information available, as well as just more about our majors and programs and those engagement opportunities I was talking about in our presentation today. I will pause here because we want to, again, provide you as much time to ask your own questions. So I'm going to stop screen sharing and turn it back over to Kim.
Thank you so much, Shoshana. You shared so much information. I even took notes. There's always something new to learn about everything at UConn, right? And so thank you for sharing your passion and your knowledge with our students this evening. We have a ton of questions that have come in, and don't worry, participants, we will try to get to as many as we can in our 30 plus minutes together this evening. If we do not get to all of them, my team in admissions will be calling you to follow up after this session, hear your feedback, share with us what we missed, what you would like us to continue doing, and then we can answer all of your questions. Now, I know we keep asking for questions, and all of you are probably like, wow, I don't even know what my questions are. And don't worry, there'll be plenty of opportunities to connect with the admissions office or with your advisors over the summer. All right, so let's get started. Shoshana, I have a whole list for you, so I hope you are ready.
Ready,
so our
Kim.
First question is, can you talk a little bit about the difference in the majors between computer science and engineering?
Sure. There is also on our website, I'll preface that there's quite a lot of information, the actual curriculum maps, as well as distinctions in writing. If you would like to check those out, again, link right off of our School of Engineering undergraduate site. But in terms, of this question today, computer science is our Bachelor's of Science program. So it's our lowest total credit degree in total credits, I'm just talking. And the flexibility of the curriculum is a bit more than any of our other programs, with the selection of the types of math as well as combined free electives. The courses themselves for programming are very comparable. So you will take a very similar amount and type of classes, computing classes themselves, as any of our other computing majors. With computer science, again, the focus will be on programming and learning about coding and the theory and practice of that. Computer science engineering is our Bachelor of Science in Engineering in Computer Science and Engineering, mouthful, but the main difference is you'll do a little bit of hardware in that degree as well. You'll learn a little bit about circuitry and hardware in the CSE degree. You'll also take a couple more classes, so total credits of that degree is a little higher and less elective choice, so a little more scripted for requirements. But again, the main distinction is you're going to do both programming and a little hardware. And then we have a third computing major, computer engineering, and that is a true split of curriculum between programming and hardware. So if you want to focus on computer hardware, that would be, the path to pursue. So all three will do about comparable and in terms of the actual programming classes. There's just a main difference about what hardware coursework is involved.
Great, thank you so much. Keep all your questions coming in. We will get to as many as we can. I see all of them, I promise. All right, Shoshana, keeping up with you. So the next question, can students complete a minor in any of the majors in the School of Engineering that you had listed earlier in your presentation?
So we do have, again, about 16 minors right now, and more coming on board as different things are coming up in our world and industry as needs. Not every major has a minor. So an example, mechanical engineering does not have a minor, but we do have a manufacturing minor, a materials minor. We do have, minors that will connect to mechanical, but will not be that major, and kind of major light is sometimes what minors are called at UConn. And so some of our majors, again, to be clear, we do not have a minor, but we have a related minor that may have that skill or learn a little bit more about those major classes.
Great, awesome. And students, don't worry, you'll work with an advisor to discuss your specific major and minors, and that's the conversations that you'll have along with picking your classes. But choosing a minor is something you will definitely discuss with your academic advisor, and those conversations can start over the summer. You can't apply right now into a minor, so it's not something you could put on your college application to declare a minor. That's something you'll do as a current UConn student. All right, continuing down our list of questions. So the Stanford campus has an honors program. The Stanford campus and Storrs are the two campuses where you can start. You can enter as an honor student your first year. Are there any differences in what the course schedule would look like their first year if you were advising an honor student versus an engineering student?
So an honors student can be in any major at UConn. And so when you're pursuing honors in engineering, you're going to pursue a quite comparable sequence of classes to what I had highlighted in the presentation today. The main distinction is you will pick at least one course a semester to be an honors course. And what an honors course encompasses is either within the major requirements or one of those general education courses to select an honors section of those. Typically, honors courses are not different content. They're the same theories and concepts. They're going to go into a bit more depth. So you're going to cover topics in more depth. So the honors course selection will be something during your orientation that you work with your advisor to select which course in your fall and which course in your spring as you go along each semester you will select as honors. And sometimes courses are for honors credits done as conversion. So you will select a topic and work with a faculty member to determine what will make that course honors credit. So it can be shaped kind of based on your own interest with that faculty member. So, as Kim had highlighted, as advisors, we will support you in making these decisions and provide you with insight into what options you have. But at this point, again, of question today, the curriculum is not going to be any different. You're going to have the same degree requirements as an engineering honors student as a non-honors student. You will just also do your enrichment program in supplement.
Great. And I do want to take a step back from, we keep mentioning orientation and meeting with an advisor. So I want to take a step back from the admissions kind of viewpoint and share with you what that means and what that process looks like. So once students know that UConn Stamford is the right place for them, yay, they're going to be a Husky, they will go into their student portal and they will fill out the intent to enroll form. That lets UConn know that you will be joining us in the fall and for your college journey. Along with that intent to enroll form, there is a $400 enrollment deposit. And that deposit needs to be, for most of our students here with us this evening, put in before May 1st. So May 1st is the date in most of your acceptance letters that says you need to let UConn know you're coming. The orientation is run by Student Services. So starting next week, hopefully, or the week after, you'll receive an email if you've paid your deposit and the deposit has processed. So keep in mind, it does take some time to process your deposit. So it may not happen within hours, right? You might have to give it some time. You'll receive that email to sign up for orientation. So first step is to fill out the intent to enroll in your student portal. Second step is to pay your $400 enrollment deposit. And then you'll receive an email from our Student Services Department about orientation, the dates, when to sign up, and what orientation looks like. Right now, for most of our students at the Stanford campus, orientation will be virtual. So will be something similar to what we're doing now, where you can meet with an advisor and ask questions and learn more about the Stanford campus and UConn as a whole. So I definitely wanted to explain those steps. If you have any further questions, we have one-on-one chats where you can meet with me. I actually just put some chats up on Sunday, so there's some available if anybody's looking for a weekend time where you can chat with me and ask your specific questions. We also do have an accepted students next step presentation where we'll walk you through all those steps as well and talk about checking your email because that's very important to receive those emails. All right, so I'm going to keep going with your questions. I just wanted to make sure everybody's on the same page with we keep talking about orientation and what that means. So Shoshana, I'm going to go back to talking about computer science. In your presentation, you shared with us concentrations that can be completed at Stanford in the computer science major. Does that differ from the Storrs major in computer science? Those concentrations differ? And can you repeat them?
Yes, so the major requirements themselves, it's the same from Stanford or Storrs graduate. So all the degree requirements are identical. And, as I had highlighted, the first year and second year courses, again, identical to what a stores-based student would pursue. Concentrations, though, there are 2 concentrations that are going to be focused only in Stamford, one unique one and one that's kind of being shaped specifically by offerings in Stamford. So those 2 are the software development as well as mobile computing. So again, those will be concentrations that are unique to Stamford-based students only. Mainly, again, the mobile computing. That is a new one that is focused on industry needs in the area, the Fairfield County area. So it is being developed specifically for Stamford-based students. Then there are, I would say, about 10 other concentrations that a student in computer science, maybe it's 8, but all of them are listed on our School of Engineering website. So you can take a look through. There are some that can only be pursued by making the transition to stores for the 3rd or 4th year of your career. So the concentration courses are 4 in total. So there's only 4 concentration courses required for computer science and engineering students. So dependent on your interest, again, some may be Stamford-based and others stores-based only. So as we work together to, again, shape your interest in the field of computing, we would be talking about what concentration suits your interest best, as well as would you like to complete your degree in Stamford or make the transition at a point in your career to stores?
Speaking about Stamford and stores, we have some participants with us this evening who have been accepted into a School of Engineering major that cannot be completed at Stamford. Can you talk a little more about what the campus change process looks like for students who are already accepted into a School of Engineering major and will start their career at UConn Stamford?
Right. So once admitted to the School of Engineering, whether it is at the beginning of your career right now, pursuing an engineering degree from the gate, or if you transition into the School of Engineering the first or second semester or beyond, it is an opportunity available to complete your degree probably through, again, stores only. So most of our majors do make the transition to stores their 3rd, 4th, or 5th semester at really the latest point. So dependent upon your needs as a student and financially and personally, we will be planning when you would transition to stores. Again, almost all of our majors, 12 out of the 13, right, do need to transition to stores at some point in their career to access more major specific classes. The foundational classes for all of the majors are available for the first year, most again for the second year as well. So in terms of the actual transition, we will plan that together. What semester makes most sense for you to transition after your first year, unless you're a spring to store student coming for the spring semester to stores. The transition itself, you're going to go from a smaller, more intimate atmosphere at Stamford of being, in your cohort with students and get into a much larger, right, environment. And so we will be running workshops as well as preparing you in our advising conversations for what to expect when it is time to make that transition to stores. We'll be talking about the similarities and differences, preparing you to apply likely for housing on the stores campus. What are some of the financial differences? And your courses will be setting you up for a schedule in stores as opposed to Stamford. When you make the transition to stores, you will remain co-assigned for advising to myself as well. So you'll have a consistent face and person that you've met while you were at the Stamford campus and when you make the transition to stores. And we will also be offering, once you get to stores, transition workshops. So a workshop, oh my goodness, thinking of workshops because we're in one right now, a transition class, a seminar class for a whole semester that is available to you as an engineering student or exploring engineering student to support you in your transition. So we have a class that you can take for a whole semester to get support with that, sometimes difficult transition because there's change going on. So we're there to inform you about the differences and provide you resources and make sure that you're getting connected to the stores campus.
That's such an exciting thing. I didn't know that there was a course that all campus change students will participate in when they're campus changing in the School of Engineering from a regional campus to stores. So perfect. Awesome. So I'm going to start the next question and then I'll turn it over to Shoshana to elaborate or add on any more. A question came in about what types of learning options will happen for the fall. And I do want to share that all new students that have been admitted to any of our campuses received an email last week. I'm not sure if it was on Tuesday or Wednesday. I can think about the specific date that shared that most of our classes will be planning to be in person. And so that's really exciting that we are working towards having as many in-person classes as possible. I think it was like 3% less than 2 falls ago, which was fall 2019. But there is a very detailed email that all students were sent, and we can definitely look to resend you that email if you would like it. I'm going to turn it over to Shoshana to share if there's any differences for a student in the School of Engineering in addition to that email that students received.
No, I can't, provide any additional differences or information beyond what you just shared, Kim. The School of Engineering heeds the university advice, the state health standards, and so classes will be planned as you've received information for. The courses, even if they're a lab-based course, may still be, there may be still a virtual component, as the university has been functioning that way for about a year and almost a half now. So, you could still have a lab class that is virtual, but you may also, we're again ideally trying to return back to as much in person as possible. It may be in person. So I think, you should reference, as Kim mentioned, the communication the university sent, because that is the most up-to-date information. I just, again, want to explain that we do offer, if the institution needs to shift more virtually, you will still have access to all of the courses that we discussed today. If they need to be virtual, they're still provided that way. So you don't have to fear whatever modality is the safest and most offered modality at the institution. Come fall, you will still be able to begin your career even as a STEM student that way. You don't have to worry that the classes will not make that transition successfully.
So exciting that things are going to return back to as normal currently right now. That's the plan, right? Things change on a daily basis, hourly basis. So that's the plan, and that's very exciting. All right, I'm going to continue with all of your questions. Thank you so much for sending in such thoughtful questions. You make our presentation tonight go by so quickly. All right, so the next question is around learning communities. So in Stamford, we do have housing. Stamford is the only regional campus with university-owned housing, and our housing in Stamford is very different than a first-year student's experience, or maybe even a sophomore student's experience up at the Stores campus. So our students are living in luxury apartments. And when I say luxury, I mean it. So granite countertops, hardwood floors, walk-in closets, dishwashers. I never had a dishwasher in my master's degree program when I was at school. And so I brought over paper plates because I thought we had to wash dishes. So they are gorgeous. There aren't currently any learning communities in our residential halls because they're apartments. So it's a little different style. We do have students who are involved in other programs, such as our Business Connections Learning Community in the School of Business. And so there's definitely discussion about how to correctly put students together that share interests. But because they are apartment style, it's a little bit different than being in your traditional dorm, right? Where you're sharing a community style bathroom and there's 2 or 3 students in one room. Our students in Stamford have living rooms and kitchens and are only sharing the bathroom with 1 or 2 other students. If you're interested in finding out some more information about the housing options in Stamford, we do have, well, we just had a presentation last night called Living at UConn Stamford. It will be on our YouTube channel in the next week or so, but we also offer residential hall virtual tours. So I would definitely recommend checking out one of those. Shoshana, a student that is campus changing to the Stores campus, do they have the option of living in any learning communities up at Stores?
It depends on the timing of your campus change. There are some residential communities that allow second-year students to apply. And there's also some learning communities that are not residential based, but are still learning communities. So you can still apply, in a different point of your career. Similar, to the offerings that Kim mentioned for learning more about learning communities and housing options, there are also stores-based workshops and things coming up that you are welcome to participate in to learn more about those options, as well as contacting the first year programs office directly in learning communities office if you have questions about any specific learning community you would like to know if you could be involved with later in your career. But I do find that most students that transition from the regional campuses in engineering kind of find their people while they're, on campus at their regional campus. So when you're at Stanford, you're going to build a cohort and a peer group and find each other in classes, since it's such an intimate setting. And you'll probably find that you want to reside together when you make the transition to stores, or that you at least know other people who are in engineering or have similar interests, and you may find that a learning community is going to not be what you would prefer. You would prefer to actually reside together, or in the future, when you are eligible to live off campus, you may find that you have an apartment together off campus in the future. So I think you'll find your people a lot. You'll make your own little learning community in some senses by beginning at UConn Stamford. So that's pretty neat and wonderful.
You can't get lost at UConn Stamford. We are all mainly in one academic building. So you will see my face every day, even though I work in admissions in the admissions department. But my office and department is located right in our welcome center. So students will pass by each other and pass by staff and faculty on a daily basis. So it's such an intimate campus, and our community is small. We have about 2,200 undergraduate students. So small but large, depending on what sense of reference you have. All right, so we're going to change gears just a little. So we had a question come in about students that are admitted into our ACES program. So our ACES program is our Academic Center for Exploratory Students. So I just wanted to back up before I turn this over to Shoshana and just share why students could be admitted into the ACES program. So students could be admitted into the ACES program because UConn has over 115 different majors. A student might just not know what they want to do and maybe has an interest in the School of Engineering. And maybe after tonight, you know exactly what you want to do. So that is very exciting. Students might also be admitted into our ACES program because we want to see how successful you are your first semester, your first year, or your time at UConn Stamford. We want you to take those challenging math and science classes and make sure that you can be successful. We would never want to set up a student to not be successful. So we make sure that we provide the tools and the resources to do so. Shoshana, could you talk a little bit more about when a student would apply into the School of Engineering, and what is the latest a student could apply to graduate within 4 years?
So for the earliest, that question, a student would be able to apply after their first semester at UConn if they had completed the coursework to make them eligible for admission and done well academically. So at orientation, again, if you do have an interest, that orientation we highlighted, you can express to your advisor that this may be an interest area to you, and they will help you with qualifying placement, test scores, register for those classes for fall. And then you can apply for that first semester wave of admission. If you aren't eligible for those courses or haven't quite decided that this is the path you would like to take, you can pick up engineering still in the second semester or beyond, but with the caveat that courses are very sequential in the School of Engineering. And as you may have heard me highlight, there's a lot of math in particular. So you may find yourself wanting to take coursework potentially in the summer to kind of catch up on the requirements if you're trying to get back on sequence for a 4-year graduation plan. It is also not, totally out of the realm to say that extending graduation may be the best fit sometimes if you're starting a major that's quite sequential, later in your career, like that second year. But there are many, ways, again, that we can try to manipulate the plan of study to get you to stay on time for graduation if you have not begun your career right away. typically, I would say, if you have not been admitted by the end of your sophomore year, that is probably the last point, right, to consider that being on track for a 4-year plan of study makes sense. But we, again, at UConn have advising requirements every semester. So we try to explore this as early as possible in your career to make sure that we are considering all these variables and help support you to stay on time for graduation and be eligible for admission as soon as possible. But we understand sometimes, again, you don't recognize yet your interests and you're exploring different paths. And so we would say, again, probably heading into that sophomore year is the time to really make that like formal decision and decide if you're in or you're out for the 4-year plan of study part of it. We do have students, I will share, I've worked with thousands of students. I have had students change in their senior year. I just do think you have to understand by at that point you would be delaying, graduation past a 4-year plan of study. But please don't also be concerned starting as an ACES, exploring engineering student, or not even sure again about engineering, because it is quite common to use that first year, that whole first year, to explore this pathway before committing to this plan. But you can, again, commit as soon as your first semester, right? So as soon as you're ready, we're here for you.
Great. And you have so many folks to talk to and try out math classes or different recommendations to see if an engineering plan or even if a math track. I always say sometimes students are more interested in the social sciences versus the math and analytics. So there's definitely different options and different folks. There's so many different folks to speak with to figure that out for you. All right, so I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions. The first question I'm going to take is what is the range of classes? So I'll talk for the Stamford campus, and then maybe Shoshana, if you want to add in anything for the Storrs campus. So in Stamford, we have classes starting at 8 o'clock in the morning, and some of our classes go as late as maybe 9:30, 9:50, or 10 o'clock at night. And that's typically Monday through Thursday. Friday, I think classes end by 5 or 6. There are also some Saturday classes. We spoke earlier in our session about general education courses. So all of our UConn students, no matter what your major is, needs to be well-rounded. We want you to go out into the world and be able to problem solve and critically think and communicate. And sometimes learning other disciplines helps that those critical thinking skills develop. And so there are plenty of opportunities for you to take classes anywhere in that time frame. There was a philosophy class on Saturday that students love. There are 3-hour classes. There are an 1.5-hour classes. There's 50-minute classes. So one thing really exciting about entering your college journey is that you get to make your schedule. Now, there are certain classes that only are at this time, or this, and this time. And you'll have to pick what is the right fit for you or what is available. But for the most part, classes are flexible and you get to make your own schedules. Shoshana, anything I missed or anything you want to add?
I think just the 2 points being that, your experience K-12 is going to look very different than college scheduling, so while classes may be very early or go late at night, you're not going to be in class an entire day, right? Or maybe even every single day of the week. You're going to be in class about 15 hours a week, approximately, and then the rest of the time will be for you to work with your professors, for you to get involved, for you to maybe have a part-time job, so your schedule is going to look a lot different with the time itself in class. It is way more flexible, and I think students tell us often they have a lot more time than they thought, but I bet we could find things for you to fill it with to be a successful engineering student. And then also just to Kim's point about at Stanford, you may have, a chemistry class or a math class only meet, twice a week. And in Storrs, sometimes there's multiple components to a class. So you may find that it's the same class, right? But it's just broken out a little differently with a lecture, a lab, and a discussion component. And that's really about space and how many students are taking that class. Stanford can accommodate, every student looking to take that class in, let's say, 2-time meeting a week versus Storrs where we may need to break it out into many parts. So just the types of style. The class is the same content, but the style, the setup of the class may look a little different. There's probably more laboratory-based classes as well that you will be doing when you get into your 3rd and 4th year in stores-based engineering classes than the beginning of your career as well. So the components just look a little different.
Awesome. So I think our last question this evening is, can students that are majoring in a major in the School of Engineering minor in a different school or college at UConn? Can they minor in the School of Business or even the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences? What does that look like for an engineering student?
Yes, and I think I'll just preface that while we did highlight minors, minors are by no means required for graduation. And as an engineering student, the major requirements are quite substantial. So you may find that a minor, like a full minor, may not be the best fit for you, just so that you don't overload yourself. But there are plenty of opportunities for minors, and we do have students who minor, let's say in music or business, or something they just want to gain, again, a new skill set in, or because they're an interdisciplinary student, they would like to just expose themselves to other types of classes beyond the required major classes. So it is possible. You wouldn't be tackling, as Kim had mentioned earlier, you wouldn't be starting your minor or having to declare a minor right away. You're going to work on minor requirements later in the second half of your academic career for the most part. So the beginning of your career will really be focused on the foundational concepts, working on those general education requirements to get transferable skills, and then you will start to shape those minor, interests or other ways like research, undergraduate research, or joining clubs and activities, again, taking on leadership roles that you may have started activities at the beginning of your career. So it will evolve. And, again, to this question, though, yes, you can pursue outside of the School of Engineering an official minor. Mm-hmm.
So I hope the takeaway, I know we talked so much about different specific classes and different requirements and all of that, but I hope that you can, one, hear our passion and excitement for students and know that we are available and here for any question that you have. I know a ton of questions came in and we just didn't have enough time to answer them. I know folks have homework and other responsibilities and need to maybe have dinner and do so many other things. So we'll try to get to as many questions as we can, and we'll definitely reach out, and there's plenty of opportunities to connect with us more. We are here to answer those questions. I hope you also heard us share with you there are so many opportunities and different pathways to get to your goal, right? UConn is such a campus that has so many different majors, so many different minors, so many different research opportunities and internships and jobs. I mean, if you want to work in the admissions office, we're always hiring great tour guides. So there's lots of opportunities for our students at any of our UConn campuses. Shoshana, I wanted to thank you for your time tonight. You provided so many important facts and information, and I always learn new things every time I have the opportunity to be in a presentation or listen to you chat. So thank you so much for your time tonight as well.
Oh, my pleasure, Kim, and thank you everybody for joining us.
Great. Well, everyone, have a great night. Stay safe. Look out for our phone calls because we will call you to follow up and see what other questions you have. Have a great night, and we can't wait to talk to you or maybe even see you soon. Bye.